Tim and Jenn Show.
The Tim and Jenn Show.
Hello, my name is Tim Ryan. Welcome to the Tim and Jenn Show. Sitting here with my co-host, my better half, my amazing wife and business partner.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Jimenez Ryan, and
Hi.
welcome everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome to summer. My goodness,
Summer and shooting.
yeah, summer. Okay, so tropical storms and tornadoes, hurricane season's in. And it's like, it's hitting. A lot of states are getting nailed. Even Naperville.
Last week, Naperville got nailed really hard, and Woodridge, and the shootings are through the rise.
Yes. Okay, wait.
I saw Chicago had 45 shootings over the weekend.
Yeah, no, it's out of control. There's over 300 mass shootings this year alone. And I say this to you guys because, like, normally, and I said to Tim a month ago, I'm like, babe, there's a lot of shootings going on in LA. Like, that's not normal. We used to have them a lot, but then it stopped. And then this little kid got shot, and it's so sad. And any shooting is so sad and devastating, but like these innocent victims. And so then I was like, wait a minute. I drive, and we drive on the freeway a lot, and I got to be really careful. And sorry. And then, and so I'm like, I can't even get agitated with anyone.
Well, there's more. It happened in Chicago in a spurt, but out here in LA, you hear about shootings on the highway all the time.
We were coming back from my mom's house yesterday, and this lady was like going crazy. I couldn't move forward. I was at a red light off the freeway, and she was like, I swear to God, she was ready to get out of the car and beat the crap out of me. And I looked at Tim and I was like, this lady's going off for no reason. Yeah. No reason. There's a red light. I can't move. And I just we can't even flip her off. You know what I mean? You can't even do any of the things that people used to do, or honk your horn at someone. I'm afraid, and I don't want to live afraid, but we're in a place that now they're calling it an epidemic that's going on with guns. And I'm not here to say gun control and everyone should not have a gun or should have a gun. What I'm saying is there is a serious issue going on that people are blaming it on the pandemic, post-pandemic. I can understand during the pandemic, people are at home, we didn't know if the apocalypse was happening. No one knew anything, right? I can understand, doing that. But now you're buying more guns and you're using it for no fucking reason. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, but you got to look at the people that are doing it too. A lot of the mass shootings in the United States are Caucasians, white people, white males.
Yeah.
And some of them have mental health, absolutely. Substance abuse issues, yeah. But what really makes a person tick to where they wake up or they strategically plan, I'm going to go do a mass shooting, and a mass shooting is shooting more than
4 rounds
at someone or
yeah.
something. But I mean, we're talking mass casualties here. What's going on? They want to blame the gun, and I grew up with guns, and you need a person to operate a gun.
You want to blame the government. You want to blame all these different things. But what I'm saying to you is what makes you wake up? And I understand protecting your home, but what makes you wake up and go, I'm going to go buy a gun and go in the car and go just shoot people that are pissing me off today.
Or I'm going to go shoot up a school or a church or an event, a parade, whatever. I mean, is that where we've come to?
Yeah.
But it's just...
And I don't think it's the media, because I'm not listening to one channel or the other. I'm telling you, I'm reading the facts of what's happening. And it's what do we do? What do we do? Well, I mean, I'm telling the people, what do we, I need help.
But that goes into other things. What do we do? And, we have a mental health crisis. We have a substance abuse. We have an alcoholism. We have a smoking. Everyone's addicted to something. What?
I need to say something. I'm sorry. It's going to go a couple more minutes longer of just you and I. But so Tim and I go a couple weeks ago we go to Ojai and we go visit a program.
Yeah.
And we took a picture and with it. And all of a sudden on social media, we were getting crazy bashing. Why don't you say where we went?
Well, the program was Narcanon, which was originally started by L. Ron Hubbard, who started Scientology, and everybody watches the programs and says it's a cult. I don't know. I've never joined it. I don't know anyone that's a member, but he did start Narcanon, and they're a subset of nonprofits all over the world. They have 45 programs. They have 4 in the United States now, but we only toured one. We toured their high-end program in Ojai, California. It was absolutely beautiful.
We got to spend time with the clients.
We spent time with the clients. One kid said, look, he's probably 28, 25. He said, look, I've been to 16 treatment centers. This place has given me the tools to save my life. And I'm walking out of here not addicted to Suboxone or methadone or another drug, but the hate out there. And one of the people, we posted a picture. We toured the program. I like to be knowledgeable on all pathways to recovery, whether you want Christian-based, 12-step refuge recovery, do what you want. I don't care. But one lady who's a big Christian puts a post up to the effect of saying, oh, well, this is a cult, da-da-da. And I said, are you basing that off watching a TV show? I said, see, I take the time to actually go visit these programs, meet the staff, get to spend time with the clients. Then I can make an educated decision. But people want to make a decision based off stuff they've read.
Yeah. And then apparently like we got paid to go there. And I'm like, what? We didn't, you guys. We went on our own mile, our own gas, and we went to go visit. And it was phenomenal. And I'm going to tell you something, like, to all those haters out there and judgmental people, the program is based on many things, principles. And the program was based off of two alcoholic, pill eating addicts, right? And you're gonna say a drunk versus like someone, I mean, whether it be L. Ron Hubbard, Moses, Jesus, God,
whatever,
Buddha, Allah, like there's many paths, you know, and they're not even saying anything. When we went there, they don't even talk about religion. They talk about a spiritual path, and people are like judging that, and I'm just like, ignorance is bliss. Educate yourself, get a fucking life, and research this shit, because you know, it's not about me. I don't have any ties with them. I have nothing. But what pissed me off is that people were bashing something they didn't even know. We saw these kids, we saw these people in there trying to get better, and we're actually better. I saw their souls, and they felt alive. And you know what? More power to any place that helps other people.
Amen. And if you're one of those hypocrites that like to bash, here's my favorite words. Fuck you, get a life, get educated. Speaking about getting educated, our next guest
good lead.
Has been a dear friend of mine for the past 6-7 years, since I probably walked right out of prison. He spent some time behind the wall, is 18 years in long-term recovery, and runs probably the largest and most successful program, speaking in middle schools, grade schools, high schools, colleges, community events all over the country. Has the only evidence-based program curriculum that I've seen. Dear friend and a brother of both of ours. Welcome to the show, Michale Deleon. Steered Straight. What's up, Mikey?
Hello, how are you?
Are you actually, we've been able to watch you.
Yeah, were you working the whole time?
Yeah, you working, Mike? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm working. I'm making another paper on something that I'm submitting to Congress.
You do everything. I mean, you work with passing laws. You have worked guiding, directing people into treatment. But what you're known for is your educational programs and Steered Straight. But let's go back, Mike. What was that?
Look in the camera. You're just like looking.
I'm thinking as I'm talking. 18 years you've been in recovery. What was part of your journey prior to that, Mike?
So prison, you know, I know sometimes people hate when you say it, but prison saved my life. You know, if it wasn't for prison, I definitely wouldn't be here. I ended up going into prison for 5 years, coming out, being handed a bottle of 360/80 oxys by an emergency room doctor. And that started my addiction all over again. For years, I blamed that doctor, but I don't blame him anymore because I knew better. You know what I mean? I know what 80 oxys are, and I handed me the bottle and I was off to the races again. So within 10 months, I was only out 10 months. I went right back to prison again, where I served 7 more years. So 12 years total behind the wall. And that, you know, the second sentence really changed everything. I got involved. They asked me to be involved in a program called Scared Straight. Scared Straight is in East Jersey State Prison. It used to be called Rahway State Prison in New Jersey. And the concept is bringing the kids into the prison to scare them straight. You know, maybe they're, truant problems or, petty crime problems or involved in juvenile delinquency in some way. So the idea and the concept is if we bring them into the prison and scare them, they'll go straight. They'll start doing their homework and they'll start listening to their mother.
How's that
And
working?
there was actually a long-term study done, 25 years. They took over 2,000 kids who were brought into Scared Straight, and 86% of them became incarcerated as an adult. 86%. Wow. So it doesn't work. It never works. Negative reinforcement doesn't work. It's only about positive reinforcement. You know what I mean? So I think I have too much light on here, right? And so when I got out of prison, I said, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to do something different. And I started Steered Straight. I mean, it wasn't that easy. I got out of prison and I got on the phone and I started calling some principals and superintendents. I'd be like, yeah, good morning. I just got out of prison. I'd like to come talk to your children.
I remember the same thing.
Hello? Hello? Someone hung up on me. Who'd want the ex-convict anywhere near kids? But who better than you and I and people like us to deliver a real program, a cautionary tale, and a real message, but showing that it didn't kill us. But we also have all these pictures and stories of hundreds and hundreds of people that we've touched that didn't make it.
Can I ask
I hate
you a
when
question?
people in recovery go to schools and they get up in front of the kids and they're like, yeah, I overdosed 6 times and I stole my mother's car and I stole my kids money and I was on the street homeless for a year and I have Hep C and but I'm great now. I'm getting my master's degree. I'm a recovery coach and I can save the world. Come on, so the kids there looking in the audience like, well, all right, well, I should be okay then. I should be okay because I'm just smoking weed and drinking and popping Xannies,
Yeah, no,
I'm not as bad as you are.
I have a question to ask you regarding I think about these moments, especially because, we've all hustled, all the 3 of us. And we've definitely broke many barriers and walked through doors. And some doors are really hard to walk through, especially when you get those no's or those hang up calls. What made you keep wanting to do that? As you're calling these schools and they're hanging up or saying, no, thank you. And your passion is to help someone else. And you have of all people, you two have the greatest stories to tell because you come from there, and you can walk this talk and show them what it's like on the other side. How do you keep going? What made you keep going?
I mean, I always try to say I don't let a closing door stop me. I'll find another door. I'll keep going. I'll keep going. I'll keep going until the door opens. There was a couple prosecutors, ironically, that opened the doors for me. New Jersey State Senator Cory Booker was a councilman,
I love him.
And he became a pretty good friend of mine. He came on my TV show when I was doing a TV show in Philadelphia twice. I don't agree with him politically on a lot of things, but he was a councilman and he saw me speak and he said, you need to get into every school in Newark. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying, but nobody wants to be near their kids, I guess. And he said he would take care of that. And the very next day I got a phone call from the superintendent of schools who brought me down for a meeting and they gave me all 37 Newark, New Jersey schools. Wow. Trust me, I was, a white person, was few and far between. And when I would go in, the principals would look at me like, where's your speaker? I'm like, I'm the speaker. And they're like, oh, I got to see this. I got to see this, right? And it's not color of skin. It's not race, creed, color, religion, anything. Addiction knows absolutely no demographic. It hits everybody. And now we're moving through this paradigm shift from overdose to poisonings, and everything is changing. And I just didn't take no for an answer because I knew, that God had a purpose for my life. And I knew that purpose was trying to make sure kids didn't grow up to be me. I want them to grow up to be who God destined them to be, who their parents and teachers are raising them to be. I don't want them to grow up to be me. And so I just didn't take no for an answer. A couple of real key people opened doors. And I have this unbridled energy. I sleep 3 hours a night. I don't stop. I keep going. My haters just motivate me like no, and the people who tell me no just motivate me, and the people who attack me motivate me and bring up my past. I had a woman the other day say, because my birth name, my given name is Barry Michael Deleon, Barry, Barry Michael Deleon, and so she said, you dropped Barry. I'm like, yeah, I was named after the biggest loser in politics, Barry Goldwater. I don't like the name. Okay? I mean, I never got, the only Barry I like is, Barry White, you know what I mean? But I don't, I never used it. I didn't use it in middle school. I didn't use it in high school. I haven't. The only reason it got attached to me is because that was my legal given name when I got arrested. So I dropped it and I picked up my middle name, Michael, and I go by that. So she said, you changed your name to hide your past. And I was like, wouldn't I have changed my last name too if I was trying to hide my past? Like, that was a pretty fucked up way to hide my past, just changing my first name to my middle name and leaving my last name and then going all over the country talking about everything that happened in my life. That's pretty stupid. Like,
Mike,
I
you were
changed
saying
my name to hide my past.
That's amazing. Mike, you were saying earlier, like a couple sentences ago, that what we're talking about.
So I am not a Republican. People call me a Republican all the time. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I vote for person, not party, right? And ironically, I live in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, where I can't vote because I'm a first-degree convicted felon. And that's one of the things I'm working on hard to try to change. Even though my conviction wasn't in this state, I can't vote. I can have access to plenty of guns. There's 16 guns in my house because I have a corrections officer for a son, but he's in law enforcement and he has 16 guns in the house, and I can have access to those guns, but I can't vote. So anyway, I'm obsessed with what's happening in our country. With drugs and with suicide, with the pandemic, with mental health, with harm reduction, with medication-assisted treatment. So, my focus is prevention. If we can stop the problem from starting, that's the answer. We're never going to solve addiction. Never, never, never. The only way we're going to solve the problem is to prevent these kids from getting started. So my focus is simple: getting kids to see what happens to the brain and the body with drugs and alcohol. And the three drugs I focus on the most is nicotine, alcohol, and marijuana, because that's the trifecta gateway. That's what 90% of every addict in this country began with, all three drugs before 18. So that's my focus. But I also want to do other things because I don't sleep and I don't, stop. But what's happening in America, and the reason I prefaced it by saying I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, is because what's going on our southern border is changing the face of addiction in this country more than anything else ever has. And it's because we're not bringing attention to what's flooding across our border. The cartels and the syndicates driven by China is pushing fentanyl through our southern border. The last 5 largest confiscations of fentanyl have happened in the first 6 months of this year. In the history of America, the 5 largest confiscations of fentanyl have happened January to May of this year. And the 5 largest confiscations of methamphetamine have 4 out of 5 been liquid, and they've all happened in the last 8 months.
So let's explain to people that you have pure heroin. But if it's cut with fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more potent than pure heroin. It's 10,000 times stronger than pure morphine. I mean, if it was salt, 2 grains of this would kill you. This is what the heroin, the cocaine, the crystal methamphetamine, the fake pills are all either being cut with or masked to make look like it's an Oxy 80, but it's really pure fentanyl. What's happening to these people, Mike?
They're dying. They're just literally, kids are getting, it's been a very, very prevalent thing where kids trade pills. Kids get their, they're on psych meds, they're on antidepressants, they're on anti-anxiety medication, or they get access to their mother's Xanax or their dad's Klonopin or their grandmother's Ativan, right? And the market, the money made selling these pills in schools or across social media is huge. So now these kids are ordering, trying to get a Snapchat dealer to give them a Xanax pill. And when they get the pill, they take it. And it's not Xanax, it's pure pressed fentanyl. It's cheaper for these cartels to press these pills fentanyl powder, fentanyl raw into these pills, make them look like oxys, look like Xanax, look like Percocets, and kids and young adults take the pill and they're dying. They're just dying instantly.
Mike,
it's
you
now,
said something that I think we've never talked about, and it's so prevalent to speak about this. Parents, your kids, when they're on social media, on Snapchat, they're dealers, and they that's how they do their drug trades. Like, that's how they do these things. Nobody,
Well, we
like, I didn't even know that until a few months ago.
I mean,
like, what?
Mike and I did presentations, Rich Wistocki, on educating. You want to know what your kids are up to? Get into their technology.
They are doing their drug deals on their phone.
Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. When my son Nick died almost 6 years ago, every Facebook message, every text message
though.
was
it's
all drug related.
And then it goes away. Like, people don't know that. Parents don't know that.
right.
They have no idea.
It's unreal, and it's so prevalent. Like, every day I have a couple of things I do every day. I have 30 Google alert tracks that I track suicides and meth. I track synthetic pills. But every day I look on Amazon and I look on eBay every single day to see if I can get a pill press machine. And right now there's about 9 pill press machines on Amazon, and there's 32 I can get on eBay. Pill press machines. I can order and have it delivered to my house.
I mean,
what does that mean, you guys? What does that mean?
That's how you can make your own pills in your garage, in your basement, in your living room. Because what people don't understand, I could get on the dark web right now and order an ounce of fentanyl or carfentanil and have it delivered to my house in 2 to 4 weeks. That's how accessible it is.
It's crazy.
So you bring up a point. I mean, we're losing the war on drugs. Overdoses are up 34%. You know, that leads into, there's 2 sides of the fence: the harm reduction people, the abstinence space. There's many different pathways. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, when I was in active addiction, I went to the Chicago Recovery Alliance truck once a week with Ray, my drug dealer. We got clean needles, cookers, and swabs, and I think Narcan back then. But I didn't want to get Hep C or AIDS or whatever. So then I realized I could go to Walgreens and buy them. When I overdosed my last time, I think it was 4 shots of Narcan or 5 to bring me back. Today, what's happening, though, is with harm reduction, they want to reduce the harm people are doing that are using. So today, they still want to give clean needles and all this. There's no Hep spread. There's no HIV spreads anymore. But what they're doing is giving you a delivery mechanism to inject and or smoke or boof up your backside fentanyl quicker. I mean, you're going to need 8, 12, 15 shots of Narcan to bring someone back. And
what's a boof?
Up your back door.
Your butt?
Your butt.
For those who don't know.
Yeah. So what's your whole take on the harm reduction? I mean.
Well, giving out needles to people, the way I like to explain it is, would you you look at your handgun, you make sure there's no bullet in the chamber, you take all the bullets out and you let your kid play with it. I mean, it's harmless, right? You got your kids playing with a gun. You've checked it, but now you're giving the kid gun to play with, and it's got 6 bullets in the chamber. It's loaded. You're giving the kid a loaded gun to play with. You're handing the kid a clean needle, so he dies by shooting fentanyl with a clean needle. And all the theory about, we're going to meet them where they're at. And this way, if they come in, get their needles, we can talk to them into getting treatment. They don't want treatment. They want to get high. They're not looking for treatment. If they were looking for treatment, they would find treatment. They would call and they would try to get treatment. There's plenty of people out there like you, like Jen, that can get people into treatment, whether they got insurance or not, no matter where they are. You could get them into a detox. You could get them into the treatment. There's plenty of people across the country that do that. If they want treatment, they can go get treatment, or they can stop, using drugs. They're not going to go to a safe injection site. They're not going to go to a needle exchange program. And by the way, while I'm here, do you have any information on treatment? Right. I've never seen it in my life.
I mean, that's like where Jenn was reading me an article the other day.
41% of women.
On the fentanyl test strips. On huge article in some paper. And you got to understand, I'm a drug addict. So I go buy a 1/4 ounce of cocaine and I test it and it shows fentanyl, do you think I'm going to go try to return my
Yeah.
cocaine?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to do it. I might do a little less at first.
Yeah.
If I go to buy dope and I'm dope sick or I'm a dope addict, it's got fentanyl, I'm like, yes, I'm going to get a better high. I'm not going, oh, not going to do that. That's just bullshit. You give me drugs, I'm going to bang them. I don't care what they are.
I did different drugs than you guys did. And at the end, I did all of it. But I'm going to tell you, that's my thought process exactly like yours. It doesn't matter. Because some people might be like, well, you know what? I'm not a heroin addict, or my kid's not a heroin addict. You know, they just take pills or they smoke weed. Let me tell you, an addict's brain thinks very similar to the next addict. And I did different things and I didn't shoot, but I thought, oh, I would, when we were reading that, I was reading that to you. I thought, I will just do a little bit less.
Do a little bit less, you know?
I'm not gonna go return it.
It's as simple as that, but I just don't see it working. And you look at Vancouver where they have safe injection sites, overdoses are up 38%. And nobody can give me an answer on, if harm reduction's working so well, why is that number so high?
Right. Well, in May, last month, May, Vancouver had the most overdoses they've ever had in Vancouver history.
What?
May 2021, Vancouver had the most overdoses. You can look it right up on Canadian press. Vancouver had the most overdoses in Vancouver history. So, you know, they're pushing harm reduction. I'm not, you know, like medication assisted treatment. People call that harm reduction. Okay. If you need to get on a medication to deal with your cravings, I mean, to me, you're switching chemicals. It's kind of like, you know, I bitch at you all the time about vaping and smoking. You know, I have a friend who said, well, I quit smoking, but you're vaping. Yeah, but I quit smoking, but you're vaping. You just switched delivery mechanisms is all you did. And the metal ingestion is going to be worse. The long-term effects is going to be quicker. It's going to we're going to lose more people. Vaping is not safer than cigarettes. But
I would agree, Mike, because 2 days ago, I forgot where Jen and I were driving from, but there's a huge billboard on the highway and it said, to date, we've lost 583,000 people to cigarettes, to smoking this year alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's killed more people. And what alcohol kills more than heroin, than benzos, and meth, than all of it. Right. Alcohol kills more people. And you had put a comment about harm reduction I saw on Facebook, and someone said, forced treatment doesn't work. First off, why do you think there's interventionists out there? Why do people call interventionists in? All the interventionists I know, they've got a 90% or better track record. So you give them 100 clients, 90 of those clients will be going to treatment. 90 people that they said would never go. Nobody wants to go to treatment.
Right.
But once you get them there, 90% of the people don't want to leave treatment. But the point I'm getting to with like medicated assisted treatment, or what it's turned out to now is prescribed the med. There's no therapy. If you're working with a doctor, an addictionologist, a psychiatrist, and a therapist weekly, and some type of recovery program, and you got a plan to get off, you probably got a ticket for success. But that is in such a minimal case. Why can't, you know, I got sober in prison. Mike, you got sober in prison. I'll never forget it. But if we had 6 to 12 month options, people would be getting sober. People would learn that it's not just quitting the drink and the drugs, is it, Jen?
No.
What is it? What else is for you? What else did you do besides quitting drugs and drinking?
Well, I had to learn to stay stopped, but I did therapy. I had psychiatrist, therapist, psychoanalyst. Listen, I had I had sponsor, I had 12-step rooms, I had church, I had many things, but I did the program. And my sponsor, who didn't suffer from other issues, and I suffer from depression. She said, you must stay. At the time in my early recovery, they didn't even know what to diagnose me. So I was diagnosed everything for a hot minute. And until they got the meds straight, she said, you must be on your medication. You must go to your psychiatrist and you must see your therapist. I need to know that this is happening, because if you're not doing these things, I can't help you stay sober. I can't help you get sober. I can't help you stay stopped. And I followed that, you know, and then through the years, many other things.
But it took you ultimately 2.5 years to come off everything.
Everything.
And since then, you've never had to be on a depression med or anything since.
I haven't. Now, up until 3 years ago, I would get into a depression, I have tools. I have a group of people till this day, 15 and a half years later, that I still rely on. So I would tell on myself because that was the most important thing I needed to learn to do. And I'd be like, oh gosh, I'm feeling weird 2 days. Day 3, I'd be like, oh, it's depression I'm in. Then I'd call my whole team and I'd tell everyone I'm in a depression. But then 3 years ago, I have not been in a full day of depression. I'll tell you why, because there's connection and purpose in my life and him.
Have you had any half days or full days of anger towards me?
I've had many days of
so I
keep
you on your toes where you can't be depressed.
Yeah. But no, I mean, listen, and I didn't know, not everyone's the same story. Okay. It doesn't mean like, okay, you tell on yourself and you're going to get better. It's that you got to find your connection. You got to find your purpose. And if you got to stay focused on that, kind of like what Mike was talking about, he doesn't sleep. He's doing this. He's passionate about this and that. I mean, you're always going. I'm sure that if we stayed stopped for a long time, we wouldn't feel good about it. And
I can tell you one reason, my view, because Mike's one of my brothers and dear friends, is he works so much is because I think he's like me. And you, we've had so many people we've run across in this industry that are just full of shit. You end up having to take a lot of the work on yourself to get it done because nobody's capable of doing it and seeing the vision. I ran my nonprofit, I worked, I did all this, all the things. And it gets to a point where that's what I like Mike is focusing now just on prevention. That's his niche. That's what you want to do. Mike, what do you, I want to ask a question because we'll take over the show.
No, I wanted to ask a question too. Go ahead.
Ladies
no,
first.
go ahead.
Mike, what do you think? You know, Jen and I will both say, if I would have known how dysfunctional and toxic working in this industry is, I might have reevaluated ever getting into it. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's why I got out. Remember, I mean, I was right there with you. We worked together at a couple of treatment centers. I was at maybe 2 more after you. After I worked with you and maybe 1 or 2 before you, but I walked away from it and completely. I'm just the treatment industry. I have friends in the treatment industry. I have friends that put people into treatment. I have friends that own treatment centers, but you know, sometimes they get mad at me. I believe if we shut 80% of the treatment centers in America down tomorrow, we shut them down, we'd have the exact same success rate a year from now. Exactly the same, you know. Long term, you know, what I tell kids in school is exactly what Jennifer said, man. I think the most important thing in life, like what's the secret of life? It's purpose. 100% it's purpose. Yeah, you need God, you need spiritual principles, you need connection, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. You need shelter, you need food and water, you need sex, you need these things, all these things you need. The key to everything, the thread through the fabric of life is purpose. If you have purpose in your life, I mean, when I was filming my documentaries, I'm almost done with this next documentary. I'm filming people shooting heroin right in front of me, smoking crack right in front of me. It doesn't get the hair on the back of my neck to stand up. I don't get the jeebies anymore. People say it's not safe. Okay, it's not safe. It's fine. You go downstairs, you know, my wife's never had a problem with alcohol, right? And so she has alcohol in the house. People come over, they have a glass of wine. I'm not drinking. I can't drink alcohol. I don't want to drink alcohol. There's normal people, I guess, that could drink alcohol. I'm not one of those people. Purpose is what I see every kid that finds long-term recovery. And, you know, long-term is long-term. I know the new long-term is like 2 weeks. You know, you pick up your third, you're in long-term recovery. And then a month later, you're a recovery coach. And 2 months later, you're a peer recovery specialist. You know what I mean? Whatever. Okay, fine. I mean, you know, Dr. Bill Wilson was doing the 12 steps when he was a week sober at a hospital, I guess. So that's fine. I don't really knock anybody's passion a pathway. I have a friend that's on Suboxone 4.5 years, man, 4.5 years. And they're not happy. They're not happy. I mean, I tell them all the time, you just are miserable all the time. Everything is the glass half empty, man. And I'm telling you, your medication, you know, the tolerance level is built up. They're on more medication. They're on a second medication. They're on a side effect medication. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, your doctor's straight up lying to you. Your psych is straight up lying to you. But I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to give you medical advice. But really get a second opinion, get a third opinion, do some research, and not on pharmaceutical funded Google either. Do some real research about what these drugs are doing to you. Whether it's kids in school or whether it's kids trying to get, find recovery, it's purpose. I had a picture. I was at the store yesterday working after work. We have 2 thrift stores that we opened up in Nashville to help fund our program. And we closed at 5 on Sundays. And I had so much work to do, pickups and warehouse and everything. It's like 7:30, still light out. And I'm in the parking lot, parking one of the trucks and getting into my car. And one of our homeless regulars is walking through the parking lot. And I had seen her mother earlier in the day at a gas station. And she had this girl's 2 young boys. Okay. They're 8 and 10. The most beautiful little boys you ever seen in your life. I'm telling you. And this mother's talking to me, crying, telling me how she just went over to the camp, and saw this girl in her tent and brought her water. And the girl says, "Get the F out of my tent," to her own mother, right? Her mother leaves crying, doesn't know what to do. The boys are crying. They don't know what to do. She's taking them to a little park for the day. And the girl's walking through my parking lot right now. We've been working with this girl for over a year, 13 months, right? Giving her soda out of our machine, giving her water, giving her clothes when her tank got burned to the ground, giving her clothes when her tank got flooded, giving her clothes when all her bag got stolen, right? Giving her clothes because she was in jail for 3 days. And when she come home, someone took all her stuff, right? And we feed her, never give her a penny. I wouldn't give her 1 penny. Okay. I'll take her to the hospital, but they're going to release her in an hour anyway. Civil commitment is the only thing. They're giving her free needles. Okay. She's got a little Narcan keychain. I don't know who's going to Narcan her when she overdoses. I don't think you can Narcan yourself, right? But they're giving her just what she needs. She's getting high every single day. I'll give you 3 guesses how she supports her heroin, but the first 2 don't count, right? So she's living in that tent for 13 months. Her 2 little boys are desperate for their mother. The mother was told her, "Get the F out of my tent." And the harm reduction people are like, let's just meet them where they're at. Meet them where they're at. No, let's scoop her up, put cuffs on her, put her in a jail cell. Okay. Give her the drugs she needs to detox, right? But let's force her into long-term treatment. Involuntary commitment. That person who said forced treatment doesn't work, they don't know what they're talking about, because forced treatment does work. Okay.
Hey, well look at me. I was forced into treatment called the Illinois Department of Corrections, and I happened to get into a treatment program within it. Saved my life. I needed to be sat down. I needed that 13 and a half months to reflect on my past, to reflect inwardly, and figure out what I'm going to change walking out of that place.
Right.
And I've changed a lot of things. I still got some issues.
Jennifer, it took Jennifer 2.5 years to get off of everything. In the first 6 months being friends with Jennifer, I wouldn't have told her she wasn't in recovery. Her path sucks.
Yeah, right.
Abstinence is the only way. 1.5 years in recovery, I wouldn't have said, "Jennifer, you're just not doing the right way." Like, okay. But the problem is when she got clean, it took her 2.5 years, or she spent 2.5 years getting off of everything. Now you don't got 2.5 years. Now you're poisoned. You're done. This girl's going.
Let's get this. She was on psych meds. That was right. It. And how much Seroquel did they have?
Okay, just to sleep alone.
Listen to this.
I was more high in treatment than I was like when I got in there. I feel 1,500 milligrams of Seroquel alone to sleep. Now I'd wake up with like burritos in my chest. Like, it was awful. I mean, I was like, they would call me like the Seroquel, that I did the Seroquel shuffle. I had Seroquel throughout the day. For those who don't know what Seroquel is, it's a non-narcotic for seizures, but it helped with whatever it was that they were diagnosing me that day. Trazodone, 900 milligrams, and Abilify made me get naked and try to fly away on the roof. That didn't happen. I literally got naked though. Risperdal made me chest bump dudes out of all places and like try to like fight them. I thought I was from the hood. Like, I don't even know. Lithium almost killed me 3 different times. I'd never take that again. I mean, it's so dangerous unless you're getting blood tested every week, but that's a whole nother thing. I was on, I mean, name it, I was on it.
She was on it. So it
Depakote.
took a long time.
I was never
to
on
wean
these
her
kind of
off.
drugs like
Never, yeah,
before. And
never.
like all of a sudden
Yeah, I
I'm
don't-
on these drugs.
I don't think they're the answer. And I think we're losing a lot more people. And the pharmaceutical industry has an agenda. The medical industry, the treatment industry has an agenda. They have an agenda. And they want, I don't, listen, 60% now of commercials on television are pharmaceutical funded commercials.
So
60%.
here's one thing Jen and I always do. Whatever this pharmaceutical commercial is, we listen to all the side effects. There is a minimum of 20 side effects for every one pill they're prescribing. I mean, I'll throw my little brother under the bus. He's, asthmatic, panic attacks, this. He takes more fucking pharmaceuticals than anyone I know. And he takes this to counteract this and this. And I'm like, dude, if you would just get off of all this stuff for a year, and don't get me wrong, he works out every day. He's an iron worker in this, but he's controlled by pharmaceuticals.
So what I started doing was when we'd go to different states, in different cities, I'd listen to the news channel and then they'd have the local commercials.
Oh, this is interesting.
So here in California, they do a lot of Viagra, a lot of like heart medicine, antidepressants. And then in Chicago, they do like stomach.
Gastro bypass, more fat people in Chicago.
I mean, they do all these and they're like, if you want to do this and if you want to have energy to go here. I mean, it's so funny for every state. It's the same TV show, but total different commercials.
And it's like, hold on, how about getting a personal trainer, getting a nutritionist, getting a spiritual advisor, learning to meditate, work out, do yoga. Why don't you give that a shot versus everything else?
Yeah,
I mean,
Florida's all like senior citizen medication. It's like, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, and now I don't know if you've seen tardive dyskinesia, and they're talking about these movements of your face and your arm that you're having, and it's okay. It's just a result of your very necessary depression medication and your No, it's not. Like, get off that shit. And here's a medication for that new disorder that they're calling in. They're just normalizing it. We have a problem. I don't want to just fight heroin and meth and fentanyl. I want to fight the pharmaceutical industry. And so I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but my focus is my lane that I say, stay in my lane, right, is kids not to touch chemicals until 21 years of age. I mean, is it going to happen? For a lot, it's going to happen. I mean, I've had kids hand me drugs in schools. I've had kids come up to me and say, man, I want to get off of this, but I don't know how. And I'll give them advice about how to get off vaping and how to get off weed. And the weed thing is completely changed.
I want to mention, hold the weed thought, because one thing I want to mention, the last big high school we did was Shelbyville, Indiana, 15 months ago, pre-COVID. 2,800 students. Afterwards, Jen gets 800 plus DMs through Instagram. And the thing that shocked me was half of these kids weren't addicts, but they're suffering from trauma at home because mom and dad's an addict. Mom and dad are divorced. Dad's dead. She's got 4 brothers, or he's got 4 brothers and sisters, and he's having to feed them and bathe them because moms are so obsessed with their ex-husbands or their boyfriends that they're on social media and trying to make their lives are great. Or dads are like too busy on their phone talking, whatever, like everyone's all too busy to like say, how was your day? What's going on? And the point is these kids have no one to talk to. I've only spoken 2 schools in the United States that had a full-time substance abuse counselor and mental health counselor. Most schools have a guidance counselor. Okay, they're to guide you on what college to go to. They know nothing about substance abuse, mental health, trauma. I mean, prior to coming into schools, we informed the superintendent or principal, you better have a trauma therapist or a couple counselors on staff, because when we leave, the kids want to talk to someone.
So why do you say marijuana is so different?
Well, I mean, 2000, everyone... I'm obsessed with weed. I'm obsessed with marijuana, obsessed. Okay. And so I just read about it. Every book that's in the country. I have 2 bookshelves across my office. I have over 250 books on marijuana. People are like, what are you talking about? If there's a book, a paper, a publication in any part of the world on cannabis, on hemp, on indica, on sativa, on cannabidiol. I've got it and I've read it. I'm obsessed with weed, right? In 2009, when Colorado basically legalized marijuana, everyone said they did it in 12 and 13. No, they didn't. They did it in 2009 when the Justice Department put out a Cole memo saying from the Obama administration that they were not going to prosecute states that legalized weed for state rights. They would not come in and federally prosecute. Now, the Obama Justice Department kind of lied about that, and they came in still a couple of times. But basically, Colorado legalized marijuana in 2009 for medical purposes. Well, that just opened up the doors for people who got weed prescribed for headaches, got weed prescribed for a hangnail, got weed prescribed for menstrual cramps, right? So the THC level in 2009, the highest THC level known in this country was 12%. 12%. Now it's 100. It's 100. It's pure THC. And one of the things that's going on right now across the country with kids, and people have no idea how bad it is. When we legalize marijuana, sometimes people tell me, well, I'm for medical marijuana, but I'm not for recreational marijuana. I'm like, okay, what's the difference again? There is no difference. There's no such thing as medical marijuana. There's marijuana. You use it for recreational purposes or use it for medical purposes, whatever you tell yourself, you know what I mean? I used to use crack to, for my weight loss program. I mean, that was my justification for smoking crack. I lost a lot of weight. Of course, I lost a lot of money. But anyway, it doesn't matter what you tell yourself. Marijuana is marijuana. There's no such thing as recreational versus medical, right? That's just the ruse that they told everybody. By 2012, we were at 37%. Now we're at 100. So there's 38 states that have legalized marijuana for recreational purposes. But one of the things that people have been for or accepting of is CBD, cannabidiol, CBD. It's a different molecule, comes out of the same plant, cannabis plant, hemp, sativa, indica, doesn't matter. There's cannabidiol. It wasn't even discovered in this country until 2009. People don't even realize that. It was discovered, but it wasn't marketed until 2009. So cannabidiol is a non-psychoactive molecule. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Now we have CBD2, CBD3, CBV, CBG, CBH, CBD. We're over 40 cannabidiol molecules that interact with the cannabidiol receptors in our bodies, most of which are in our stomach. People don't understand that. Cannabidiol, fine. But there's other molecules. So THC, marijuana, is delta-9. That's the molecule, delta-9, comes out of the cannabis plant. There's also delta-9 in hemp, and people never will accept that. Well, there's a molecule called delta-8 that's just as psychoactive, and there's a molecule called delta-10 that's more psychoactive than delta-8 and delta-9. Well, hemp contains a lot of delta-8 and a lot of delta-10. So when Trump signed, he sent me an autographed picture. I have it on my wall when he awarded my wife and I the volunteerism award, presidential volunteerism award.
Congratulations.
I have a picture of Obama right there, a signed picture of Obama right there. I have a signed picture of Lyndon B. Johnson right there. I have a signed picture of Ronald Reagan, 2 signed pictures of Richard Nixon. I got signed pictures of every
But do you have a signed book from Tim Ryan?
Yes, I do. I have a signed book.
That's all that fucking matters.
100%.
I don't care about your I don't care about your ego shot pictures. No, congratulations on the award, Mike. That is I don't care who the president is. That's a huge award, and congratulations.
It was great. I didn't care about me. It's just a recognition for what we're doing. But when Trump signed the Farm Bill, 2.5 years ago, he legalized hemp in the Farm Bill. But he legalized every single molecule in the hemp plant, including delta-8, including delta-10. So that opened the door for the CBD industry and every vape shop in America to sell isolated harnessed delta-8 and put it in vape pens. If you vape delta-8, you're smoking weed, you're getting high. And now they're just starting to put out delta-10. In every state in America, even the state like I live, Tennessee, that has not legalized marijuana for recreational purposes. You can get weed anywhere in I think there's 42 vape shops in my town. 42. Wow.
And so here's the thing with that. If you're a grown adult, do what you want. But
do what you want.
I totally I support people. If you want to get off heroin and smoke weed and your life's better, go do it, man. I don't care. I'd much rather have people smoking weed than drinking and driving. But when it comes to these kids in schools, I am absolutely against it. And what they don't understand is this is what's happening too, Mike, because when you're saying it's 100%, that's usually the dabs, the wax that they're smoking.
Yes.
Jen and I are 16 and 17. I'm older. I go for the younger ones. We're at a party. She has a wine cooler and I have a few beers and a shot, and we smoke some dabs. Our inhibitions are completely dropped. And then Polo walks up and says, hey, you guys want to pop a pill? You want to snort a line? Okay. And it's heroin or whatever. That's when Pandora's box is opened. If you weren't smoking the dope, your inhibitions wouldn't have been dropped. You never would have tried that, because that is a gateway to opening doors. Now, does that mean everyone that smokes weed is going to become an addict? Absolutely not. But what's so wrong with you that you got to alter your mind in the first place? That's what I ask the students.
A lot's wrong, because today, let's just be honest, you guys, let's just call it what it is. I'm sorry to go against with what you're saying, is that a lot is fucking wrong in everyone's household right now. And we're like saying it's not happening. It's okay if it's wrong, but we can talk about it. You know what I mean? We can say, and maybe there's some serious stuff that needs to really be taken care of and addressed. But if it didn't start at the home, or if it didn't start in my early teens for me, if they didn't, I wish somebody came and showed up like you, Mike, or you, Tim, and talked to me at school, because I don't remember any of that. You know what I mean? Like people saying, life is not going to be always easy. And like people may tell you, to act like everything's okay in your household when it's not. And you don't have to do that. I would have probably not been the person I am today. I mean, there's so many things that is wrong. And there's also so many wonderful things that are great. But we're not taking the time to stop, not be on our phones when we're with our kids or our family or mentors or people we're mentoring or whatever. We're not taking that moment to engage a connection. That's what this is. We need more connection.
What do you call a communicative
relationship?
Would you agree, Mike? Mike. Did Mike Deleon freeze up on us? I think Mike froze up on us. Well, what the hell? I guess we'll wrap this up because we're coming up anyhow. We want to thank Mike Deleon.
I still had questions to ask Mike.
Well, we'll pop him back on.
Okay, because I really wanted to ask him about, and it's funny because he started the show with saying, the beginning, the three things, his number one thing is children, is the youth. And then the three things that he really emphasizes when it goes
Why don't we bring him back on next week, the following week?
Oh, that would be amazing.
Why don't we do that?
That'd be amazing.
Like we did with Ricky.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Sorry, we had a Zoom technical
Yeah, we had
glitch.
a technical glitch, but that's okay. We're going to bring Mike Deleon on again. We want to talk to you about Clean Cause, better caffeine. What's in the can? Our organic, sparkling Herba Mate is a premium pick-me-up that won't let you down. Every can of Clean Cause contains 160 milligrams of better caffeine, and each sip supports recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. 50% of the profits go to assist people into sober living. Check out cleancause.com.
Seaside Palm Beach is an executive luxury addiction treatment center located in Palm Beach, Florida. Our private clients come from all over the world, including business executives, professional athletes, celebrities, and more. Seaside Palm Beach offers first-class amenities and high-end accommodations, including a gourmet culinary experience, ocean views, pet-friendly facilities, and access to cell phones and laptops during your stay. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please call us at 877-959-5053. Again, that number is 877-959-5053.
Now, glutathione is a big word, but it's the body's own master antioxidant. So it's a scavenger for free radicals, for bacteria, and what's relevant now, viruses. This is new to the marketplace. There's no other product on the market that has the ingredient NACET.
And basically NACET increases the production of that glutathione that is in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system and keep it strong. elevated sense of well-being, supports muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, powerful liver support, energy, helps blood sugar regulation, superior bioavailability of key ingredients.
One of your best defenses against COVID is a strong immune system. Taking GSH Plus as a daily supplement does all that. And now we have the product out on the marketplace.